Hi Mike, here's my report on what turned out to be the final day of the fourth test match. Now, the day lasted 9 hours. Cricket normally lasts 7, which really isn't long enough, and so for reasons that I won't bore you with, they managed to extend it to be a 9-hour day last night. As a result, I got to bed at about 5 in the morning. If you remember, Australia quickly needed to take 5 wickets at the beginning of the day. They started really well. Ryan Harris, the guy that I said that his body's falling apart, bowled brilliantly, got 2 wickets in 2 balls, sent stumps cartwheeling everywhere. But then England threw the bat at the ball, took some risks, and they paid off, and they ended up managing to scrape together a lead of almost exactly 300 that Australia needed to therefore chase. Now, if you remember yesterday, I said that anything over about 250 was going to be very difficult, and 300 really should have been too much for them. But they started really, really well. The opening batsman went past 50, went past 80, went past 100, and everyone just started to think Australia would win, including me, or at least most of me thought that. But there's a recurring memory that I've seen this kind of situation dozens of times over the years. When a team's got a chase that really should be too big, they often start really well, but a collapse is just around the corner. So I'm pleased to say that I backed England at this point to counteract my bet against Australia earlier on in the match, and I was going to win regardless of who won. But from a patriotic point of view, things were looking pretty good until the wickets started to fall. 1 wicket fell, 2 wickets fell, then 3. Then all of a sudden, the ball in the bowler's hand, you could see that one side was noticeably more shiny than the other. Now, this is not an unusual thing. Bowlers, as you see all the time, it's one of the cricket cliches that they're shining the ball. But England shine it better than anyone else. And they've discovered that if they keep on shining it, when the ball gets really, really old, it starts swinging around again. Now, Australia don't bother doing this because they're just too proud for such an intellectual activity, and they're too keen to drink beer. Australia also, endearingly, have never learnt to play it when the ball swings like this. The batsmen just can't cope. Again, they're not going to be doing something so bookish and scholarly as learning how to play a swinging ball. And so, whooshka, Australia collapsed alarmingly and depressingly, and having looked absolutely certain to win the game, in a twinkling of an eye, they had lost it. So, England have now taken a 3-0 lead in the series with 1 match to play. Not only have they retained the Ashes, they've now won the series. And to all English people, if I speak to them and meet them, I'm very gracious in acknowledging that they were the better side. But in this little forum, this Sydney, Dublin forum, I can say that in reality, Australia haven't played all that badly. With a few different pieces of luck going one way rather than the other, this series could have been a lot closer, and indeed Australia may well have won it. But reality is not the case. Australia have been absolutely thrashed. This represents one of the worst periods of our cricketing history, in all of our cricketing history these last few years. So we move now to the final test match in a week or so's time with an attempt to try to salvage some pride. But for the moment, England lead 3-0, and I'll see you next time.